Alright, so we got the 207 spoilers, and there's like a twist that happens at the end of this chapter. Something that I don't really think we expected to happen, for sure. But before I get into that, let me just go over what had happened in the previous chapter. So Tsukumo was continuing to fight Kenjaku after he had activated his domain expansion, and she decided to counter it with simple domain. And this is from advice that Tengen gave her, but it turns out that Tengen gave her just some crappy advice for some reason. The verdict's still out on if Tengen maliciously did it or not, but Kenjaku's just so powerful that he overpowers her simple domain and just blows it away, because it turns out that it would have just been better if she used her own domain to counter him. And Kenjaku like hits her with the domain ability, which I guess is tied to his gravity curse technique. So she just gets sent into the ground by like this massive blast of gravity, and it really wrecks her. Like her arm is done, she's all bloodied up, but she's still able to fight against Kenjaku, surprisingly. But she definitely was eventually reaching her limit at the end of the chapter, and that's where Choso came in, sneak attacking Kenjaku with a supernova. And that brings us to the beginning of this chapter that starts off by showing a flashback of Yuki explaining their plan to Choso to see if he would help them in the fight. Choso does say that he wants to do it for his brothers because this will help Yuji to have a better future, so he decides to go in first alone. So this is interesting. This is like the third or fourth time that we've cut away from the fight to see what they were talking about before the fight had started. And I think the original time that we went back to them, they were actually saying the opposite of this. Like Tsukumo didn't want Choso to fight by her side against Kenjaku because he would get in the way because she's so much more powerful than him. And it's like, I get what they're trying to say with that sentiment, but at the same time, it's just like, this is like the big bad, and you have to really protect Tengen at all costs because he's crucial to what Kenjaku ultimately wants. So it just have everyone fighting against him, everyone available. I mean, in this case, there's only two people, but just have Choso in the back, you know, assisting Tsukumo. And it turns out that, yeah, I guess they decided that was the right thing, but they wanted to mislead the audience the first time around. I guess this conversation is happening right after the original one. And Choso going in first makes sense just to expose what Kenjaku could do. And they were able to do that, but it was all for naught because Tengen just gave them crappy advice anyway. Hey, also guys, if you like my Jujutsu Kaisen content, please subscribe if you haven't already. It's fine if you don't want to, but if you just need a reminder, here you go. Thanks. Choso is able to hit Kenjaku's head, which reveals the brain, but he was able to dodge it, so it wasn't a direct hit. Yuki gets excited to fight again and says that they got him cornered now. Yuki gets back to the fight, but Choso tells her to heal herself. Okay, so the brain's back, and this is getting revealed because Choso goes like point blank in Kenjaku's face and almost hits him with a piercing blood, but Kenjaku like moves just fast enough, but like it clips like his skull cap and his brain gets exposed. We haven't seen it since he showed Gojo back in Shibuya, right? But I guess he's like immediately putting his skull cap back on and then, I don't know, healing it with reverse curse technique maybe. That's interesting, right? You think that he'd be able to heal the scars or the stitches that come with that, but maybe they can't be healed because whatever the stipulation of the technique is. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Extra Wallet. So guys, I can't express to you how much I love the Extra Wallet. I've been using it for over 2 years now, and it's never let me down once. Like 6 out of 10 times when I use this in public, I always get compliments on it, or I'm just asked like what it is. It's slim and sleek, holds 6 of your cards and easily pop out with the click of a button. That never gets old. It also has an RFID plate on the back. This is the carbon fiber version, but I also have the matte black version, which is so sexy. Extra also has a key case, and just like their wallets conveniently holds your keys, it even holds my gym membership. But another thing that you can get with the key case is this key tracker. Simply just connect it to the Chipolo app in your phone, and you'll always know where your keys are in case you lose them by accident. I mean, we've all been there, right? So guys, if you're looking for a truly awesome Christmas gift, look no further than Extra Wallet, and please check out my link in the description because you're going to be able to get up to 35% off of your purchase. That's shopextra.com/Zhoniin, or you could always use code Zhoniin as well. Thanks guys. Yuki gets back to fighting, but Choso tells her to heal herself first. But Yuki thanks him for the help and goes to attack Kenjaku. Yuki attacks Kenjaku in hopes that they can get him before he gets his technique recovered, but crushes them again with his gravity ability. Okay, so kind of getting death flags here, right? right? Choso telling Tsukumo to heal herself. She kind of just ignores it, doesn't do it, which is interesting because she didn't want to heal herself in the previous chapter either, after she got hit with Kenjaku's domain. And it's like, I assume that she can, right? Or she's just going to reveal that she can't. But I guess she just doesn't want to here because, I don't know, being too proud, or she feels that her sacrifice could be ultimately necessary. But also them saying that they hope to attack him before he gets his technique recovered. This is like one of their big plans in the first place. Get Kenjaku to use his domain, which they did. And then, you know, once you use a domain, afterwards, you're going to have difficulty using curse techniques for a little bit. But he's just recovering within a couple seconds, a couple minutes maybe at the most here, and just hitting them with his gravity ability again. Yuki tries again to make a surprise attack on Kenjaku and is confident that she can win because Choso used everything he got and Kenjaku can't use his gravity ability again. This is our only chance. The chapter ends with Kenjaku being able to hold Yuki's arm and then hitting her with 2 critical hits. Yuki starts coughing out blood and Choso yells Tsukumo at the end. Alright, so here's like the twist that I was talking about. I'm sure a lot of us expected Choso to be the one to die here, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually going to be Tsukumo that dies. And this could just be a fake out. And it's like, why not? It's standard at this point, right? I mean, not necessarily in JJK, but just in these battle manga series. But I will say that there's also a chance that she could die because it is JJK. Gege doesn't care. He'll just kill a character, regardless of how like they are. And Tsukumo seems somewhat of a good candidate to die because she's been around for a long time, but we haven't really been able to get too attached to her. And she is really powerful, so that's kind of a detriment. Like, you can't have too powerful of a good guy. Like, that's why I'm really worried about Akotsu. I'm just saying there is a chance that she could die just as fast as she was introduced, if that makes sense. But the critical hits that she's taking here are actually these mini Uzumakis that Kenjaku was able to make somehow. They're like the size of seashells, and they fire off these little condensed blasts from them. I mean, it's really cool the way that he's able to manipulate Cursed Spirit Manipulation's maximum technique and making it into a not maximum, like a pseudo maximum ability. I don't know, technically you shouldn't be able to do something like this because you're kind of cheating the system, but Kenjaku is like one of the masters of Jujutsu, so it's understandable that he would be able to break into the nuance and the finer details of curse techniques like this. And I'm sure we'll see more of this later on with other characters, but he's blowing like a hole through Tsukumo's stomach with one of these things. And it definitely looks like it's a fatal wound, especially at the end of the chapter. But again, it is battle manga, and this is like a very common wound that characters get, right? I don't have the statistics on this, but I wouldn't be surprised if characters wind up surviving this more than when they die from it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tsukumo survives this, especially if she just suddenly decides to use reverse curse technique finally. But again, wouldn't be surprised if she dies either. But hey, maybe Tengen comes in and shows what he can do. Maybe he helps Tsukumo that way. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these spoilers in the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.